story short, I decided, oh, I can eat some M&Ms. You know, it's after Valentine's Day, and I thought, well, let me just have a few. Well, a few turned into almost a half bag, which was a pound. So a half was a bag, a pound, that big bag, whatever. I kept on eating them. I don't know what I was thinking of, but I thought, oh, this isn't going to hurt me. Well, yes, it did hurt me. I just shut down. When I say shut down, I had severe stomach pains and cramps to the point where I was almost going to have to end up in the ER, but I was totally aware of what I had done, and I ended up going to the drugstore. And I remember once upon a time I had kind of a similar stomach pain, and in the ER they gave me milk of magnesia. Well, I went and I bought some for the first time in 6 years, I think. I've never had pain like this in my life. So after a day or two, I finally, got back on track, and I realized that that amount of sugar not only raised my insulin, it also caused me to have inflammation. Swelling came back, all the symptoms I had back when I was eating a regular diet. So I guess what I want to say, that I am very, very, very sensitive to sugar. And I have been researching, and I found a wonderful book that was suggested by Jimmy Moore. If you don't know who Jimmy is, go check him out. He is Living Low Carb Man, and he has a website, and he has podcasts. Anyways, one of his videos mentioned several books that he had just reviewed, and one of them was a book about sugar. And actually the title to the book is called Suicide by Sugar. So I was able today, during my lunch hour, to listen to the podcast to get some idea about this doctor who wrote this book. And lo and behold, I realized the same thing that she was talking about, what sugar does to your body. Number one is inflammation. And if you don't know me by now, I suffer from joint pain. I have a autoimmune disease that sometimes my good healthy proteins attack my joints when I get sick, when I get really sick, and my immune system goes all wacko. And so what happens is that I just shut down. I can barely walk, and I have to take shots of Enbrel to calm down my immune system. But lately I haven't been having to do that. So anyways, when you eat sugar, it increases inflammation, not only your insulin, and a whole host of problems. So after I had eaten the M&Ms, I did realize my ankles were starting to swell up again. My, of course, you know how your face breaks out. I always thought, oh, that's just from too much chocolate or but, oh, it was just horrible. So just that small amount of time of M&Ms, I don't know, I guess it was a life learning experience for me, because I'm not a sugar-holic, but one thing I learned about low carb and the whole low fat, low carb is not a low fat diet. The thing is, for me, low carb works best for me because you're more or less eliminating sugar out of your system, out of your diet plan. The only sugars, of course, with your fruit. One thing that I learned also, I stopped drinking fruit juice, way back in the summer. That was the number one thing I stopped drinking. I always had that glass of orange juice, and I always had situations where I was hungry before lunch, and here I'm thinking this glass of orange juice cannot be that harmful. But it turns out it takes about 4 oranges to make a glass of orange juice. That's a lot of sugar. That's a lot of fruit sugar. Why not just eat the one orange, get the vitamin C, get the pulp, get the fiber, and that's your fruit for the day. So I learned that a long time ago about fruit. People don't understand that when you're on low carb, you really are eliminating a lot of the sugars. I don't want to experiment anymore. I know what works best for me, and once I went back on low carb, I decided to really be strict with myself, and I know what I have to do, and the amount of protein, the amount of fat, and the amount of fiber, and what type of carbs I'm supposed to eat. So for the past 2 days, I finally got back on track, and I feel fantastic. Truvia is my sweetener of choice. Stevia, I definitely stay away from aspartame. Aspartame does raise your blood sugar just like regular sugar does. If you don't know that, aspartame will sometimes, for some people, I'm very sensitive, it increases my hunger. To me, it's just like eating sugar, and I don't need anything artificial in my body anymore. So if I want to make chocolate, I know how to make chocolate. I made it back in the summertime. I just buy unsweetened chocolate, and I sweeten it with Truvia. But I don't need chocolate. I get my sweets through berries. And yeah, so I learned a lesson, and I am learning, and I'm anxious to read books. And Dr. Atkins' book, of course, has been out forever, and now there's a new one out that I'm anxious to get a hold of. So I have a lot of reading, a lot of research. I think this is the greatest thing for me, is researching, because there is science behind low carb. I have been on this earth long enough to know that low fat does not work for me. When you remove the fat from a food, what do you think they put in the food for flavor? Of course, sugar. Now, if you decided that it's easier to give up fat than it is to give up sugar, well, then you know why. Because there's a lot of sugar-holics, but there aren't a lot of fat-holics. It's real easy to give up fat, but try giving up sugar. So when you're on a low-carb plan, you're naturally giving up the sugar, and you're replacing that with the good, healthy fats, moderate amount of protein, depending upon your diet, your plan, your body. I go to the doctor on a regular basis, so if I felt like my cholesterol was increasing and my blood pressure wasn't going anywhere and I became diabetic, definitely I would take a second look at my diet. But since none of that is happening, I'm losing weight, but I know how to lose weight, and I know what I have to do, and I have to increase my exercise, stick to a certain amount of net carbs, and limit my intake of nuts and even cheese. So there are certain foods that I am sensitive to. And low carb, if you enjoy fish, if you like chicken, if you like a good tossed salad, go on that kind of low carb plan. You get plenty of fiber if you do it the right way. I totally believe in supplements. Enhance my weight loss and my energy with coconut oil. I know when I'm off the coconut oil for a while, I don't have that kind of energy anymore. Plus, I'm not losing weight like I was. So I'm back to the summer of '09. I know exactly what I need to do. In the very beginning, it was hard for me. I didn't know enough, but now I am researching, and there's so much out there. There's so many books out there. It's not just the Atkins. I do my own plan that works for me, and I take in a lot of information. But the biggest thing for me, I'm not worried about fat in my diet. I need the fat. I don't need the sugar. For every gram of sugar, okay, remember when you're looking at the ingredients of a product, and it'll say X amount of grams of sugar? Well, 4 grams of sugar equals of Coke has 40 grams of sugar, so that's 10 teaspoons of sugar out of 1 Coke. So remember that. For me, when I'm doing low carb, I look at the sugar content, and if it has more than 4 grams of sugar, I don't take it. I like to see something with, of course, 0, 1, 2, or even 3. So that's what I learned today, and I live and learn. So, and I know what I need to do. But when my clothes started getting tighter and I started swelling, and just everything about me just didn't feel right away, it was, guys. I hope you guys are doing well, and thanks again for subscribing. I have a lot of new subscribers. I haven't even had a chance to say thank you. And that's about it. Have a great day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.